The afternoon sun beat down on my family's farm, the land my grandfather carved out of the wilderness with his bare hands. Every fence post, every oak tree, every inch of soil held a story, a memory, and a claim that no one could deny. Ever since the suburban development had sprawled out past the old county line, the homeowners association had been inching closer, sniffing around like vultures, pretending my farm fell under their jurisdiction. The president of that HOA, a woman named Karen Whitfield, had been especially aggressive. She strutted across my boundary lines like she owned the place, barking orders, handing me violation slips for unauthorized structures and unapproved livestock. Chickens, barns, tractors. She thought she could regulate a working farm as if it were a cookie-cutter house in her cul-de-sac kingdom. On that particular Tuesday, I was repairing the front gate when she appeared, cell phone in hand, voice dripping. With fake authority, she looked at me, sneered, and shouted into her phone, "Yes, I'd like to report a trespasser. He's on private property, he looks dangerous, and he refuses to leave." I froze, listening to her spin her story with venomous delight, as if I were some stranger breaking into my own land. But what Karen didn't know, what she could never have imagined, was that I wasn't just a farmer defending his family's legacy. I was Deputy Sheriff Daniel Hayes of Oak Ridge County, and I wasn't about to let this entitled HOA tyrant rewrite reality to suit her power trip. The sirens cut through the still country air like a blade, growing louder as Karen stood there with her arms crossed, smirking as though she had finally cornered me. Within minutes, a county patrol car rolled up the gravel drive, dust trailing. In the summer heat, 2 deputies stepped out, their eyes scanning the scene. Already leaning toward, believing the frantic caller clutching her pearls and pointing her manicured finger at me. "That's him," Karen screeched, her voice rising like a fire alarm. "He's been loitering here all afternoon, refusing to leave, and I'm telling you, officer, he's dangerous." I could see the skepticism in the deputy's eyes, the hesitation as they weighed her shrill accusations against the calm, steady way I stood at the gate. One deputy asked for my name and reason for being on the property, while Karen interrupted with every insult she could conjure: squatter, drifter, criminal. My patience was wearing thin, but I forced myself to remain steady, my voice firm as I said, "This is my family's farm, handed down through generations. She's the trespasser here, not me." Karen laughed in my face, the sound sharp and mocking. "Do you really think anyone's going to believe a word you say? This is HOA jurisdiction now. You're nothing but a nuisance. And by the time we're done with you, this place will be bulldozed and turned into something useful." Her arrogance was suffocating, her confidence fueled by years of bullying neighbors into submission. And in that moment, as the deputies prepared to escort me off my own land, I knew the time for restraint was over. Slowly, deliberately, I reached into my jacket and pulled out the leather badge case that had sat against my chest all day, snapping it open with emotion so sharp, even Karen's smug expression faltered. "Deputy Sheriff Daniel Hayes," announced, my voice booming across the gravel. "And you, ma'am, are under investigation." The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the crunch of gravel as the deputies froze, their eyes darting from my badge to Karen's face. Her smug grin collapsed into shock, her mouth opening, but no words coming out, just a high-pitched gasp that sounded almost comical in the heavy air. I held her gaze, my voice calm but commanding as I pulled a folded document from my Jackatan active warrant authorized by the county court. "Karen Pemberton, president of this so-called HOA, are under investigation for fraud, embezzlement, harassment, and unlawful seizure of property. This warrant authorizes me to search, seize, and take you into custody if you obstruct the process." One of the deputies stepped closer, reading the paperwork with wide eyes, then nodded in affirmation. Karen's face twisted, red with rage. "This is a joke," she shrieked, her voice breaking. "I am the law here. I built this community, and everyone answers to me." But the words rang hollow now, stripped of their power. The neighbors had begun to gather at the edges of the driveway, drawn by the sirens and shouting, whispering to one another as the truth unraveled before their eyes. I caught the looks of relief, even triumph on their faces, families who had Been bullied, fined, and threatened for years under Karen's tyranny. She lashed out, pointing at me, screaming that I was an imposter, but the deputies had already moved in. Their hands firm on her arms as they guided her toward the squad car. "You can't do this," she cried, kicking at the dirt, her voice shrill. "I'll sue every last one of you. You'll regret crossing me." I stepped forward, lowering my voice so only she could hear. "No, Karen, the only regret here is yours for thinking you were untouchable." Her eyes flared with defiance, but I saw it, the flicker of fear she could no longer hide. As Karen was shoved into the back of the squad car, the night air seemed to lighten, as though the entire neighborhood had exhaled at once. Neighbors poured into the street now, no longer fearful, but emboldened, clapping, cheering, some even laughing as years of pent-up frustration finally burst free. For so long she had fined them for grass an inch too high, for Christmas lights hung a day too long, for parking a family truck in the driveway, threatening them with liens and lawsuits, using the HOA like her personal weapon. But in that moment, stripped of her power, Karen wasn't the all-powerful dictator of their cul-de-sac. She was just another criminal in cuffs. The deputies read her rights as she screamed obscenities, her voice cracking under the weight of humiliation. I turned to the crowd, raising my badge high enough for all to see. "The fraud ends tonight," I announced, my voice carrying across the street. "Every family here is free from her unlawful control. This HOA is officially dissolved, pending investigation." A roar of applause erupted, parents hugging their kids, elderly couples holding each other as tears streamed down their cheeks. One man, his voice shaking, stepped forward. "You don't know what this means to us, Sheriff. She nearly took my house twice. You saved us." I gave him a firm nod, though inside I felt the sting of anger that it had taken this long for justice to arrive. But justice had arrived, and that was enough. As Karen's car pulled away, red and blue lights flashing across her defeated face, I looked back at the farm that had been in my family for generations, the same land she had tried to strip away from me with fake fines and false claims. No one would ever take it again. The crowd slowly dispersed, buzzing with relief and celebration. While I stood under the dark sky, the stars breaking through as if to mark a new beginning. In the end, Karen had called 911 to evict me from my own property. But instead, it was she who was evicted from power, from control, from the illusion that she could play God with other people's lives. And for the first time in years, this neighborhood was truly free.